If you enjoy these liability reviews, do make sure to hit the follow button. Just for clarification, this video was submitted by the driver of the camera vehicle to me. They were able to show me that they were found not responsible for the collision, with the claim going completely in their favour. They were also able to show me that the other driver was prosecuted for careless driving. The core circumstances of the collision are that the camera vehicle is proceeding in lane 2 on this dual carriageway. The signage enforces the national speed limit white circular sign with the black diagonal dash through it, which means the maximum permitted speed is 70 miles per hour. The camera car prior to impact is proceeding at 50 miles per hour, which is 20 under the limit, and is maintaining a safe gap to the car in front of them in lane 2. In lane 1, a refuse vehicle has just pulled over at a singular building at the side of the road. The white car in lane 1 has done the modern day empty head driving procedure of indicating and going, executing a lane change without checking it was safe and clear to do so. As a reminder, an indication is supposed to be a signal of intent. It's not signal and here I come. The driver of the white car had a duty of care to check it was safe and clear to be able to make that lane change without causing any other vehicles to have to alter their speed or direction of travel. As they make their lane change, the camera vehicle has applied their brakes, but the vehicles collide because the other vehicle changed lanes directly into the path of travel of the camera vehicle. The camera car speedometer is visible in the clip. We can see that they were doing 40 just before the impact, as they had already initiated their brakes. We can see this by looking at the air freshener, which went from stable to flapping all over the place. After the impact, the camera vehicle veers over the curbed grass verge, separating the two carriageways, and ends up in a ditch. This part of the clip does not factor into liability. This action is an outcome of the impact, but doesn't affect liability. Some people after a collision panic, and that is probably what happened here. The only part of the clip that affects liability is the core section of the clip, which is right before impact and then the impact itself. The before part doesn't really come into it. The camera car was merely proceeding in their lane, keeping pace at the correct distance with the traffic in front of them. It's the white car that executed a manoeuvre when it was unsafe to do so, and it was them executing that manoeuvre that caused the collision. The post-impact incident was as a result of the collision itself, likely induced by panic, which many people do when they're involved in a road traffic collision. Over the years, I've seen the craziest of post-collision incidents caused by panic. Veering into the empty carriageway and into a ditch is certainly not up there with the craziest I've seen. Now that I've covered off the reasons why people found it controversial that the camera car was not found responsible for the collision, I'll cover off some of the more weirder comments I got the first time that I posted this video, as no doubt they'll be coming into the comment section of this video too. There's no way the speed limit is 70 miles per hour in a place where a refuse vehicle is collecting rubbish. Yes, it is. It's a road. It's a dual carriageway under national speed limit conditions, which means the maximum permitted speed for cars and car-derived vans is 70 miles per hour. The house is a singular house with no other dwellings nearby. For those about to say it's a limit, not a target, I again remind you that the camera vehicle was not driving at the limit. Yes, you do sometimes get these kinds of properties on dual carriageways where 70 miles per hour is in place. I can only assume that this kind of comment comes from the kind of person who never leaves busy city centres and hasn't ventured past the suburbs of the city that they live in. Another weird comment is that this wasn't a dual carriageway. This comment came up a number of times on the previous upload, and guess what? It is a dual carriageway. If there is a permanent continuous divide between opposing directions, then it's a dual carriageway. That divide can be anything physical, it does not have to be a crash barrier. By permanent divide, we essentially mean something more than painted. So if it's a grass verge, curbed or not, or a stretch of concrete, or it's a safety wire, or it's a crash barrier, that means there is a divide between the direction of travel, which makes it a dual carriageway. In driving education or speed awareness courses, they describe it like this. If you were standing on one side of the road and you rolled a bowling ball across the road, if it could roll onto the other side of the road where cars were travelling in the other direction, then it's a single carriageway. If it stops in the middle by, say, concrete, grass, or a crash barrier, then it's a dual carriageway. Following on from the dual carriageway debate, many people then got confused as to what a dual carriageway actually is, as many people incorrectly think it relates to the number of lanes, which is not correct. You could have a single carriageway with multiple lanes in opposing directions, and you can also have a dual carriageway with just one lane going in either direction. If there are two stretches of road going in opposite directions separated by something permanent, regardless of the number of lanes, that is a dual carriageway. Dual meaning two, and two meaning two roads in opposite directions separated by something. Oh, and for the real dimwits out there, it's dual, not dual. It's a road, not Hogwarts. Lastly, the Captain Hindsight Brigade and those who cannot tell distance and speed because of a camera's field of view. Collision investigators say that the average perception response time for most humans is between 2 and 2.5 seconds. The rule of thumb generally used is 1 second to acknowledge and 1 second to implement avoiding action, such as applying brakes and steering away from a collision. On top of that, you then have the time that it takes to come to a stop from the speed that you're doing. In this clip, from the moment the white car changes direction to impact is 1.9 seconds. That is not enough time to acknowledge, implement avoiding action and come to a stop. The reason that collision investigators don't use reaction time is because human reaction time is measured in a way where a person is expecting something. They also know what they're expecting, and so they are prepared for the stimuli that they are reacting to. And the wide field of view of the head cam that the camera car driver is wearing. Go sit in your car and look straight forward. Does your vision look like the camera view of this clip? No. So what does that mean? The distance between the camera car and the white car that was responsible is a lot smaller in reality than what you see from this field of view from this camera. I highly recommend the scene in the dramatisation of the Miracle on the Hudson in the film Sully, where the FAA are trying to say that Captain Sully could have avoided putting the plane in the Hudson River due to the simulations ran by other pilots. But then they add in time for human reaction and unexpected events, and it becomes clear that they wouldn't be able to avoid that. If you're doubting what I'm saying about this collision, you're likely trying to act like the FAA in that film if you think that you could have avoided every accident that you see on camera. Lovely jubbly, sound as a pound.